Hey guys, welcome back. Thought I would come back and do a little more in-depth talk here about the the news about the Arizona Coyotes in the city of Glendale terminating their lease from Gila River. And the last video I did got a lot of really good comments and great feedback. And I was watching too. I watched the video that Shannon, the hockey guy, did on this topic, and he made an interesting thought. And this was some people in the comments section of mine who brought this up, and it definitely could work. I mean, personally for me, and this is totally selfish. This is just the selfish fan in me. I'd love to see if they have to leave Arizona, which, I mean, they've got about 9 months to figure out what to do. So, I mean, we're not gonna know really until next June when they have to be out. But I gotta think something is probably gonna happen before then. And there's talk, of course, that they might move to Tempe. Tempe, Arizona could be an option, but I'm not sure exactly how much of an option that's going to be, considering that from what I heard from Shannon's video, a move to Tempe would cost the Coyotes approximately $70 million. Now, this is a team that Alex Meruelo, the owner, his first year owning the team, lost over $50 million. This is a team that has never turned a profit in any of the years they've been in Arizona. Not one. They're entering their 26th season in Arizona. They have never, ever turned a profit, which is insane to me. That is insane to think that this is a team that has never turned a profit. Not since they were in Winnipeg. And they left Winnipeg the year I graduated high school. 1996 is when the Winnipeg Jets left Winnipeg and moved to Arizona and became the Phoenix Coyotes, now the Arizona Coyotes. It's insane that they've never turned a profit. And so I don't think it's going to be necessarily feasible for them to move to Tempe. And again, where I don't know of any arena in Tempe that's even up there right now. I mean, there certainly could be, I mean, and Phoenix is a possibility that, they move back to Phoenix, but I don't know. I don't know what I don't know how they would do that, or, I don't know what really their options are. They've got about 9 months to figure it out. Now, in the comments section, a lot of people were mentioning if there was a place that they were going to move, Houston. A lot of people were talking about Houston. I know Shannon brought that up in his video. And Houston's an interesting, Houston could be interesting. I mean, the Coyotes are in the Central. They're in the Central Division. So if they relocated to Houston, it would make sense. They wouldn't have to move divisions. You'd have a second team in Texas. You could have a natural rivalry with the Dallas Stars, which could be very interesting. And they're a big market. They're a huge market. And I mean, they would have an arena that they could play in. I'm guessing they would play in the same arena as the Houston Rockets, because I think the owner, the group that owns the Houston Rockets, is the one that would buy the Coyotes. Although I don't know if they are willing to put up that much money for a team that has never turned a profit, that has lost basically over the last couple of years. I mean, especially with last year. I mean, the first year that Alex Meruelo and his group owned the team, they lost over $50 million. I mean, that's an insane amount of money to lose. It's crazy. And I don't know if Houston would be willing to pony up the kind of money that it would cost. I mean, I looked up what the value of the Coyotes are, and I mean, you got to figure out the value of the team. If you have to, I mean, I'm guessing if you take over the team, if you try to buy the team from Alex Meruelo, you're going to have to cover all the losses too. I would think you've got to cover, I mean, the entire everything with the Coyotes. I don't know if Houston's willing to do that. And other people in the comment section, I saw this a lot of people on Instagram too, were talking. And this is my selfish pick. The place that I think that would step up, I think, and could step up, and it wouldn't surprise me if very soon they probably call the Coyotes and are literally like, all right, what do you want for the team? Because the Coyotes the Coyotes themselves are worth, from what I saw online, they are worth $285 million. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But now you figure, if you gotta incorporate the losses in there, I mean, they may be worth $285 million. I mean, I don't know necessarily, I mean, if you include the losses in there, it might drop the value. But I have to think that Quebecor from Quebec City would almost immediately step in and want to, talk to Alex Meruelo and his group and be like, okay, what do you want for the team? Your team's worth how much? Your team is worth this much. You've lost this much. We'll cover everything. We'll give you the value of the club and, whatever your losses are. And let's just say, because the Coyotes, they're worth $285 million. A lot of money. Oh, a lot of money. I mean, not as much, obviously, as Vegas when they came into the league. Vegas paid $500 million. And Quebec was willing to pony up $500 million to come in with Vegas. They were supposed to come in with Vegas. But the low Canadian dollar kind of, put the kibosh on that. But it would not surprise me if Quebecor came in, and I'm just throwing out a number here, just a totally round number. Especially if Alex Meruelo wanted to get out from under the Coyotes completely, let's just say, Quebecor tells them, we'll give you $330 million for the team. We'll give you $330 million for the team. We cover all the losses. We cover everything. You then get a little, you got some extra money. You could invest in one of your other businesses, and you're completely free and clear. And I mean, obviously, that would have to go through the Board of Governors to be approved. But would Houston be willing to offer that kind of money? I don't know. I don't know. And this is it's an interesting situation, because back in the 90s, when I was graduating high school and going into college, you had the Quebec Nordiques left and became the Colorado Avalanche in 1995. The Winnipeg Jets left in 1996 and became the Arizona Coyotes, or the Phoenix Coyotes, now Arizona Coyotes. And then a year after that, in 97, the Hartford Whalers left and became the Carolina Hurricanes. So, I mean, teams were moving all over the place. It was nuts. And, and of course, the league expanded hardcore. And we really haven't had, there's been calls for Arizona to move for years. Years. And the NHL and Gary Bettman always, they've done everything they can to make it work. They've done everything in their power to make it work in Arizona, but they've never turned a profit. They have never made money. They've never been in the black at any point entering their 26th year in Arizona. So, how they've lasted that long, I don't know. But the last time we saw a situation like this was the Atlanta Thrashers. The Thrashers in 2011? Yeah, 2011. And it's a little, this situation's a little different because the Coyotes actually have a little time to figure something out. They have approximately 9 months to figure out where they could go, where they could potentially go. So there's a lot they could do in 9 months to find a place to go. The Atlanta Thrashers didn't have that. I think it was the off season of the 2011 or the 2010 2011 season, or was it 2010 2011? Somewhere in there. This last year was Winnipeg's 10th year. But I think it was during the off season. All of a sudden, just out of the blue, 6-8 weeks before the season started, all of a sudden the Atlanta Thrashers, they lost the building. They lost the lease, they lost everything. They just done. And they were completely without a building to play in. And the NHL, they had to hurry, they had to scramble. And that's when True North Sports and Entertainment from Winnipeg stepped in and said, we'll take them. They went, they bought them, they were approved, and they moved up to Winnipeg, and they became the Winnipeg Jets, and they've been there for 10 years now. And Atlanta had some fan support. They did have some fan support, but not, it didn't seem like it was enough. And this is the thing. And a lot of people had said this in the comment section and on Instagram about the fact Houston's a huge market. Huge market. You got to think it's about, they're in similar size population wise to Atlanta, but a big market, so it would work. I don't know if they've got the kind of fan base, kind of like Atlanta. Atlanta was a big market. They have the Atlanta Falcons, they have the Atlanta Braves, they have the Atlanta Hawks. They have a bunch of, they've got a lot of sports teams there. It's just hockey didn't work. They've tried it there now twice and it didn't work. And they moved from a very big market to, and admittedly, Winnipeg is a small market. They're a small market team. But the fan support in Winnipeg, when that first year, they sold out all their season tickets in literally 5 minutes. It was crazy. The season ticket drive started, and 5 minutes, gone. They're all done. They sold them all. It could be like that in Houston, maybe. You maybe could get that in Houston. But again, that's a maybe in Houston. In Quebec, that's almost a guarantee. The fan support in Quebec, I think, would be just huge. The support for them would be, I think, absolutely huge. I think once they open the season ticket availability, you'd see. They better have operators. A lot of operators standing by, because I'll tell you what, their phones would be flooded with people who would want season tickets. They have an arena that's all ready to go in the Videotron Center, and I know a lot of people, had thought, from the last time that Quebec was there, people had said, well, they left because, the fans, they didn't support the Nordiques the last time. What makes you think they'd support them now? It was not the fans not supporting the team. Shannon, the hockey guy, did a video, I think a couple years ago, talking about this. The Quebec Nordiques, they never lost money. They were always a profitable team. even when they were garbage. I mean, what was it, 91? An 84-game season, they won 12 games. 12 games they won. No wonder Eric Lindros didn't want to play for him, because that's what he was going to be entering, was a team that was coming off 12 wins. But they always kept coming. They kept getting, 13, 14, 15,000 fans a game in a building that needed to be replaced. And that was the main reason why they left. They couldn't get the funding for a new arena at the time. And it's crazy. The fans up there were always going to a game, or always going to games for a team that won 12 games one season. But they couldn't get the funding for an arena. And public funding is always, it's always a touchy subject, about, do you want, a public funding of arenas? They couldn't get the funding for the arena. If they would have gotten the funding for the Videotron Center in 1994-95, the Quebec Nordiques never would have left. They never would have left. Colorado would have gotten an expansion team probably a couple years down the road. But that was the main reason why why the Nordiques left Quebec. Well, now they have a nice brand new arena. It seats over 18,000 people. The Videotron Center. It's all ready to go. And honestly, I think that it would work. I really believe it would work in Quebec. And it could work. I mean, it could work in Houston. It really could. They're a big market. It's definitely possible that it could work in Houston. It would be interesting. And that's where a lot of people in the comments section and on Instagram were saying that that's where they think they'll move. And the NHL, they're going to do their best. They want to keep them in Arizona. That's their first option. They want to keep them in Arizona. If they can't keep them in Arizona, Houston will be option number 2, I think. But if Houston is not willing to pony up the amount of money that potentially could be required to completely take over this team, I think Quebec would then automatically say, we're next. And I think Quebec would come in. I think they would take over everything. And I don't see how the Board of Governors could not approve it. I mean, I think, what is it, 23? I think they'd have to have 23 of the 32 franchises that would have to approve it. 23, maybe 24. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's two-thirds majority. But if Quebec is the only place, just like Winnipeg were the only ones that stepped forward to take the Atlanta Thrashers and take them over, and they went up to Winnipeg. And I mean, when fans are actually allowed back in the arenas in full again, that arena, it's going to sell out. I mean, yes, it's a smaller arena. It's only got, like a 15,000 person capacity, but they sell out every home game. The fan base is huge in Winnipeg. The fan base in Quebec would be huge if they move to Quebec. And I think that is the very last option that the NHL would take. Option number 1, they want to keep them in Arizona, whether it's in Tempe, whether or not it's in Phoenix, wherever. Glendale, obviously, is not an option anymore. Number 2, if they can't keep them in Arizona, they'll most likely be talking to Houston. And, they're gonna try their damnedest to get something worked out with Houston where they could, move the team to Houston. And, obviously you wouldn't be calling them the Coyotes, the Houston Coyotes. I don't think so. I think they'd be under a different name in the 2022-23 season. And you wouldn't have to realign anything. You could just they'd be able to stay in their own division. And the last resort, if there's no other choice, they have no place to play, and Quebec is the only one that will step up and say, we'll take on everything. The league would almost have no choice. They would have to put them in Quebec. The fans would absolutely love it, but it would cause a little, you brought Seattle in to make the conferences even, 16-16. So if the Coyotes had to move to Quebec, well, now the conferences are misaligned again. You've got 17 teams out east, 15 in the west. Somebody's got to move back to the Western Conference. And I know Columbus isn't going to want to go. I think the team that would make the most sense, and I know they don't want to do it, but the rivalries again would be freaking huge if they move back into the Central, and that's the Detroit Red Wings. You would have, if the Coyotes had to move to Quebec, you would have, you'd rekindle the rivalry with Montreal and Quebec up there. That'd be crazy, absolutely crazy. That rivalry was spectacular back in the day. But if the Red Wings had to move back to the Western Conference and go back into the Central Division, look at the rivalries they'd have there. You'd be able to rekindle the rivalry between the Red Wings and the Blackhawks, the Red Wings and the Stars, the Red Wings and the Blues. The Red Wings and the Avalanche? Division rivals? Oh, the possibilities. The rivalries, especially for the Wednesday night rivalry games on ESPN. Detroit, Colorado, division matchup, 2022-23, Detroit and Chicago. Yes, please. I would take that in a heartbeat. That's why, to me, I think Quebec is the one that makes the most sense. But again, we got 9 months to see exactly what's going to happen. But again, this is something. This is not exactly new. It's been 10 years since it happened, but it happened to the Atlanta Thrashers. They lost the ability to play in the arena that they were in Atlanta, and they had to scramble. And we all remember the first year that they played in Winnipeg. They were still having to be in the Eastern Conference because they couldn't realign anything because it happened so fast. They didn't have time. Where at least here, if the Coyotes end up in Quebec, they have time to figure something out for the 2022-2023 season. Where then, if they have, especially if they know that this is the last year that they'd be in Arizona, and there are Coyotes fans that are, I feel for the actual fans of the team, because I know there are fans of the Coyotes. And, obviously you'd feel bad for them. But if they ended up moving to Quebec, if it was, say halfway through the season or whatever, and it was made public, that Quebecor has acquired the Winnipeg, or the Winnipeg Jets. If it were announced that Quebecor has acquired the ownership rights to the Arizona Coyotes, if they had time, you finish out the season, the next season they start in Quebec, you would have time to figure out, okay, which team do we have to move back to the Central? And the team that's most logical for me would be the Detroit Red Wings, even though they will not be too crazy on that idea, and I get that. But you got a lot of national rivalries there that the Red Wings could rekindle, and it would be phenomenal. the fans in Quebec would be crazy. You've moved a team from a big, huge market to a small market 10 years ago. And again, the fans in Houston, they could potentially, take to this team. I don't know. Houston is, it's that's up in the air, and again, the owners would have to pony up a good chunk of change. I think Quebec would be the team that most logically would be able to put up that money, would have no problem putting up that money, and the fan base would be instantaneous. And if they moved to Quebec, for the first time ever since they were based in Winnipeg, it's a team that could make money, that could actually turn a profit. You'll sell that building out every home game. You'll have 41 home games. You will sell that building out every single home game, and you will probably have thousands of people outside watching on like a big screen or whatever. It would be massive in Quebec. It would be a massive hit in Quebec. And yes, the selfish jersey collecting fan in me, I would love nothing more than to see those baby blue Nordique jerseys back on the ice again. Made in an Adidas in this style. The baby blue Nordiques with the fleur-de-lis and that igloo on the front. Oh, yeah. Yes, I would love to see that. Yes. But that's the selfish fan in me. I grew up, I watched the Nordiques. And I would love to see that. I would love to see them come back. And this, I think, is the best chance they have. But I think the NHL is going to try every other option. They're going to try to keep them in Arizona first. I think they'll call Houston, try to see if they could work something out there. If they can't get anything worked out in Arizona, and if they can't get anything to work out in Houston, Quebec, I think, is the team that steps up. They're the team to me that steps up. They'll offer Alex Meruelo whatever the hell he wants to get out from under the Coyotes completely, and he would be free and clear of everything, and you could potentially have the Quebec Nordiques back in the NHL. That's how I see them ending up back in the NHL. Is if they're basically the last option. If Arizona doesn't work and Houston doesn't work, I think Quebec then steps in immediately. And who knows? I could see Quebec do it like soon anyway. I could really see them step up and say, maybe as the season starts, Quebec City come up and say, what do you want for the team? We'll offer you this much. We'll cover everything, cover all the losses, everything. And you'll have a little money left over. You'll be free and clear. That's honestly what I think could happen. Whether or not it will happen, we'll have to wait and see. We got, approximately 9 months to figure out how this story is going to end. But it's been a mess in Arizona for basically 25 years. They've never turned a profit at any point. And I think that, like I said, honestly, the selfish fan in me, I want to see him back in Quebec. That's just me. I would love to see him back in Quebec, but I think that will be the absolute last resort. But again, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear more feedback. What are your, do you think Houston steps up and is willing to pony up the money to, the team value, cover all the losses to have them move to Houston? Would the Houston owners do that? I think it's the owners of the Houston Rockets. Does that group step up and put that money up for the Arizona Coyotes to bring them to Houston? Or do they not? And does Quebec then step right in and say, our turn? I think that's honestly what happens. I think Quebec will step in at some point, and I think they will throw a boatload of money at Alex Meruelo, and I don't necessarily see how the NHL couldn't approve it. I mean, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. But again, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you guys think. You know, does Houston pony up the money, or does or is the Quebec Nordiques the city on deck? We'll have to see. I thank you guys for being here. I love, I've gotten a couple of new subscribers here today, which I'm truly honored for, and I thank you guys very much. And if you're new to the channel and if you just happen to see the last video I did talking about the city of Glendale eliminating the lease, if you watch that video, you like it, hit like and subscribe. I'd love to have you be here as a part of the channel. Hit that little bell. I would love to see you guys be a part of this channel. And I thank you guys very much. And yeah, let me know in the comment section. Does Houston step up? Does the NHL find a way to make it work in either Tempe or Phoenix? Does Houston step in, throw a boatload of money at them, and bring them to Houston? Or does, losses and all? Or does Quebec step up and throw a boatload of money at them, losses and all, and take them to Quebec? Love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And again, if you guys are, if there's anybody new out there and you just happen to come across this channel and any one of my videos and you like the videos, hit like and subscribe. I would love to have you be a part of the channel. And I will talk to you guys again real soon.